Good evening. Exactly a year ago, Manchester United had won the Premier League. Tonight, they are without a permanent manager after the sacking of David Moyes. The manner of his dismissal has been criticised, but failure to maintain the standards set by his predecessor forced his employers to act. Well, Richard Askham is live for us tonight at Old Trafford. Richard.
Well, yes, Annabelle, attention now turns to who might be the next man to walk through the door at Old Trafford after the sacking of David Moyes. Louis van Gaal, the former Ajax, Barcelona and Bayern Munich manager, currently in charge of the Dutch national team, is the clear favourite. As for the man no longer in charge here, well, I understand that the 2-0 defeat to Everton on Sunday was the tipping point, that no decision before that match at Goodison Park had been made to sack David Moyes. The performance particularly became an issue, I understand, for the owners, the Glazer family. United now certain to end with their worst points tally in the Premier League era. So what has gone wrong for David Moyes, a manager with undoubted qualities? Stuart Flinders reports.
Manchester United were looking for the nearest thing to Sir Alex Ferguson they could find. David Moyes was the chosen one. But not everybody was convinced.
Was he really the badly chosen one?
They should have been able to get anybody they wanted from the world of football, not someone who's kind of a straightforward Fergie clone type person. They need someone to come in and have a complete clear out in terms of style and different coaches, somebody looking at transfer strategy, kind of a bit like they do at City, frankly.
Manchester United have been here before. When the great Sir Matt Busby retired in 1969, he was replaced by Wilf McGuinness, who lasted just 18 months in the job. I spoke to Wilf this morning and he said, whatever financial compensation they offer you in a situation like that, it's no real consolation.
I must say I'm absolutely delighted.
I'm glad he's gone because I didn't want him manager when he was appointed. I think
this is no longer just a talking point in Manchester, it matters in Kenya.
I'm happy because we need results at the end of the day.
And in Singapore.
Most of my friends have been quite happy that he's been sacked.
And that's why United's failure to qualify for the Champions League is so important to the owners.
There's the revenue that you generate from being in the competition, roughly about £50 million a year, but also it enhances the brand, so it allows Manchester United to sell themselves as one of the top teams in Europe, and that means that commercial revenues flow in, not only from Europe but from around the globe.
Stuart Flinders, BBC North West Tonight, Old Trafford.
Well, I'm joined now by Duncan Drasdo, the Chief Executive of the Manchester United Supporters Trust. Duncan, do you think that David Moyes did fail here, or was he made a scapegoat for certain things that were beyond his control?
Well, I mean, I think it's a cliche that football's a results-based business, but certainly the results weren't good, and in the end, the person who pays the price if the results aren't right is always the manager. And so whether it was his fault or not, that's the way it works in football.
You could say that within the transfer windows, for example, that wasn't David Moyes' fault. Do you think that Manchester United have reached a point where a more fundamental structural change is needed?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I think we've got a real concern for the future that we get the right financial structure in place, because all of our major rivals are able to reinvest all their profits into their clubs. They're fan-owned clubs essentially, and so that's where they're able to do that. But Manchester United is the only club that has been taking huge amounts of money out through the Glazers' ownership structure. And so what we really need is
making a lot of money as well.
Yeah, but that money actually, I mean, they're not realising it, of course, at this stage. But our concern is that money has to be coming back into the club, because we can't actually afford to compete with these other clubs and have them draining huge amounts of money out. So we need that as a long-term commitment, not just one transfer window. This needs to be a consistent, sustainable reinvestment of profits.
Just briefly then, is it a steady, experienced hand like Louis van Gaal who's required at this stage?
Yeah, I would guess so. I mean, certainly you would probably want somebody that has got the kind of ego, the track record, that he's going to be able to gain the confidence of the players as soon as he walks into the dressing room. And you know, those are the sort of names that are being bandied around.
All right, Duncan, thank you very much indeed. Louis van Gaal, as I mentioned, the clear favourite. United do say they're in no rush to make an appointment, though. From Old Trafford, back to you.
All right, Richard, thank you very much. Well, joining me now is our business correspondent Jane McCubbin, looking at the financial perspective. As we heard, it is a results-based business, and failing to deliver sporting results basically means failing to deliver financial results.
That's right. This is a very big business, floated on the New York Stock Exchange 2 years ago, today worth over $3 billion. But as you just heard Duncan say, it's got a huge debt to service. The cost of that last year, £70 million. It can really ill afford that £50 million potential cost of not being in the Champions League. And as Duncan said, they've got to invest in that ageing squad. That could top £200 million. And now it will cost even more to tempt over players into top flight players into a club that isn't seen to be top flight. The response from Wall Street today, though, share price up 6% to its highest level since Ferguson's retirement last May.
Interesting stuff. Thank you very much, Jane.